All right, Brandon, we got a couple more here. We're going to talk about, now I keep wanting to call this one Probis, but it's Phohis.
Phohis.
Okay.
As prohibition agents were known during the era of Prohibition. So this game is all about smuggling goods to your warehouse.
I like how you say goods in quotations.
Yeah, these are goods cards. So you're trying to run caravans of goods and store them in your warehouse. You'll see that there are two types of goods: legal goods and illegal goods. Legal goods are worth more. Legal goods are worth less points. Illegal goods are worth more points. However, if your opponents suspect you of running illegal goods in their caravan, they can play one of their Phohis cards to inspect your caravan. They will get a number of inspections equal to the number of stars or the number of stars.
Off camera, I said, not that we're redundant. It's the star and or the picture.
Yeah,
so if you can't figure out the star, look at the top. That tells you how many.
So when you run on your turn, you have two choices. You either take two cards from the marketplace, either face up or face down. These all shuffled together. Or if you don't want to take cards, you can run a caravan, and that is 2 to 4 cards. You'll just place them face down in front of you.
So you may have at one point in time taken this.
Yes.
And then later in the game, you say, yeah, I think I'll run a caravan.
Yeah.
So you just throw down, say 3 or 4 cards. We'll just say 4 cards.
Yeah, let's say 4 cards. And it's also very important to keep track of what your opponents are taking so you know whether or not they have illegal goods.
But at the same time, they may have taken from the top, and you have no clue.
But then they also don't know what they're getting, so they can't plan. So there's an interesting trade-off.
So if you had, say, this cup or this Phohis in your hand, you could say, all right, fine, well, I think you're running contraband here. One of these trucks obviously has got contraband.
Yes.
So you're going to have to say, I'm going to inspect.
Right, that's right.
But if you play and you're only going to inspect one, and you got 4, odds are still in your favor that he's not going to guess the right one.
Yeah, assuming I know all the cards they play, of course. Yeah.
If he did take one, and it's good stuff, what happens to that? Does he get penalized?
Yes, actually, the smuggler is going to score his caravan and the Phohis agent that used to inspect them.
Oh, that's why they got values down at the bottom of them.
At the bottom,
so what would you get? You
get the 3,000. So at the end of the game, you're going to score 3,000 points for him if he's in your warehouse. If he's still in your hand,
got it. He'll score you 1,000. Yeah. Okay. But let's say if, all right, I'm going to inspect 3 of your trucks. Yes. Now I got a bit more serious.
Yes.
What could we do here?
Well, so as the smuggler, I might be worried that you're going to find illegal goods. So I can bribe the inspector with whatever I want. I like to play that you can bribe them with real-world things, too. Adds a nice little twist to it. But
you like this watch?
Yeah. Or, you want a back rub? I got great hands.
I got back rubs. I got back rubs in these hands.
Yeah. So, if they accept the bribe, then the caravan is scored. However, if they don't accept the bribe, they can still look at your cards.
How would you bribe them then? Would you have the cards still in your hands you'd say, or could you actually say, hey, I'll give you these 2 trucks?
No, they must still be in your hands.
Okay, so they have to come from your hand. They can't come from what's already been played down.
Yep.
So these trucks are traveling down the road.
Yep.
This guy comes to your office and says, hey, I'm going to stop 3 of these vehicles, and you got to say, while you're in my office, I'll give you X amount of money.
Exactly.
You just walk away, and these trucks are going to continue on to their destination. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then, so the game is over. We keep doing that, either taking cards or running convoys and then inspecting them if we suspect our opponents of having illegal goods. The game is over when the deck can no longer be refreshed, so we have fewer than 4 cards remaining. At which point we add all the points in our warehouse, and we will subtract points for any illegal goods still in our hands.
Oh, so you want to get those ran?
You need to,
Yeah, so how many, you actually lose the 4,000
You will lose 4,000 points.
Oh, okay. Yep. And then what's the highest value contraband you can run?
So this game is pretty streamlined. There is just 4,000 and 1,000.
That makes it kind of simple to keep track of. So, all right, so whoever just has the most points wins, right?
Exactly so.
Awesome. Now, we also have another one over here. This is Armandora.
Yeah, these are Armandora. And
Yay!
actually, both of these games were originally published by our friends in France named BlackRock Productions. This is our published version of it, so we just updated the rules to make sure it reads well, but we didn't change any of the game.
You know, one thing I gotta say, Brent, I really like how you got small packages. I mean, small packages. I mean...
I know what you mean.
This could have been a larger box with a lot of wasted space.
Yeah.
And, people with shelf space. I mean, look at all these games, and what I like about this is all these, look, I don't have ginormous hands, okay? But each one of these are just can find a little shelf space, and I like that a lot, to be honest with you.
And it's something we're known for, which also makes our new game, New York 1901, a little bit more exciting because it is a bigger box than we are known for. But in general, we like to keep the games simple, light, and compact so you can travel with.
And speaking of that, we got one right here.
So Armandora is an area control game where you are trying to steal the gold nuggets from the dwarves. The player with the most gold nuggets at the end of the game wins. And the way that works is we have a series of these warrior tokens, we call them, and they have different numbers printed on them. Each player has the same set of numbers in their color. It depends on the number of players, how many of these tokens you get. In a 3 or 4 player game, you're going to take some of them out before the start of the game. In a 2 player, you have all of them.
Okay.
But anyway, these tokens can be added to the board to try to claim the territory. The player with the most points in each territory at the end is going to take all of that territory's gold.
Okay, so would a territory be what's enclosed here then?
Enclosed here, yes.
Okay.
So this would be part way through the game, obviously, between the red and the black player here, where they have added tokens and walls. So that is your other option on your turn. If you don't want to add a token face down, you can add 2 wall tokens to divide the territories into smaller sections.
How many walls could you add?
2 on your turn. They don't need to be connected, so you could put one over here or put one over here.
So you know, like, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
So like, let's say if you know that you're winning this location, then maybe you just want to say, yep, I think I'll place that there. You know, if that's your fiver, and you don't, and you know, that's a pretty good chance that you're going to win that. But what if you tie? What happens then?
Well, if you tie, then you split the gold.
Okay.
However, there is an important rule, and this placement would actually be invalid because you can never place a wall that creates a territory of smaller than 4 squares.
Okay, so this would then have to stay like this.
Have to stay that.
You cannot place there.
Yes.
Oh,
Once
okay.
a territory is 7 squares or smaller, they're not going to be divided anymore because that would, by definition, create a territory of smaller than 4
so
squares.
if this was open, then you just want to hurry up and claim as many spaces as you can then.
And it's an interesting balance of what's that called?
Strategy.
Trade-off. Yeah,
Trade-off strategy.
Trade-off. Where do you want to try to claim a territory or do you want to try to divide a territory? Because if you take too much time dividing it, your opponent's just going to claim it, and all of your work dividing is going to be worth no good.
You know what this reminds me of, to be honest with you, Brandon, as I'm placing these things around? Remember that game we'd play where we'd make the dots on the paper?
Yes, dots or pen to pig.
Yes,
it's
yes.
Like the next level of that game, exactly.
So we've got, it looks like 2 other races here too. So we've got elves, we've got goblins, we've got orcs, and we've got wizards. And the reason there's not dwarves is because we're stealing their gold. Okay.
Exactly.
And then, is the placement of the gold, is that random? I mean, how do you know how much to put in each spot?
It is random, but there are some rules. So you're going to make 1 pile of 3, 2 piles of 4, 2 piles of 5, 2 piles of 6, and 1 pile of 7, and then randomly distribute those over the board.
Got it. Now, do you just each take turns just placing them?
You want.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a light game.
Whatever
so,
tickles your fancy.
Yeah.
Seems how we got 4 different races. Do they have different abilities or anything?
They do. In the advanced version of the game. For me, the base game is a solid game, and that's what I usually play as. But they do have special powers if you play with the advanced rules. For instance, the elves are going to shoot arrows, and the wizards are going to reveal a face-down token so that they can see.
They reveal to everybody or just themselves?
Good question. I believe they only reveal it to themselves.
Okay, so they could just shoot an arrow, but they don't know the value of them. They're just going to reduce their...
right, yeah. The elves will just, hope that they are targeting a big guy with that.
What did the goblins do?
The goblins are going to replicate faster, so they add an additional token to the board this turn.
But you can only do it as many times as you got tokens. And then these guys can build 3 walls instead of 2.
Instead of 2.
And then this seems like probably the most powerful, really, to be able to look at your opponent's characters.
I think the forces of good have a very
forces of good
have a very strong power each. Yeah.
So when does the game end?
The game ends when all players pass, and that's usually when all the walls and all the tokens are on the board. But there are some exceptions. Like for instance, in this territory here, there's no gold, so there's no point in placing tokens. So people might pass.
Well, but at the same time, couldn't you say, well, I'm just going to burn these up so that you guys don't have more options to be able to close other places?
You could, as long as it doesn't divide it into 4. But there is some opportunities to throw some walls away.
Yeah, because you may be out of pieces, but yet you could still try to force the end game different ways.
Exactly so.
So basically then once you get it all enclosed, then everybody will reveal their characters.
Yep.
And then you just say, okay, let's flip these over, because this would be 1 territory technically right here.
That's right.
And you say, okay, well the goblins got 5, 6, 7. The orcs only have 3, so therefore
all of that goes to the goblins.
All the goblins get all that gold.
Yep.
And then if there's a tie, you said you split it, right?
Split it, exactly.
Awesome. So whoever has most gold wins?
Most gold wins.
In case of a tie?
So in case of a tie, it is the largest pile of gold. So piles are, when you claim a territory, you get all that gold into one pile. So this would be one pile of gold.
Got it.
And likely
Okay.
be the tiebreaker.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Brandon.
Thank you.